You ever wake up, sit at the edge of the bed, and just pause for a moment? Maybe you're listening to the birds outside, or just waiting for your knees to decide if they want to work today. There's something beautiful about mornings at our age. It's quiet, it's slow, and it's a reminder that we've been given another day. And when you think about it, every single day is a gift. That's not just something nice to say, it's the truth. Especially when you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or beyond, you start to feel how precious each morning really is. Now, imagine not just living longer, but living better, clearer mind, stronger body, more energy to play with the grandkids or take that walk after breakfast. We all know folks who made it well into their 90s and seemed to have a kind of spark in them. You ever wonder what their secret was? It's not always big things. In fact, most of the time, it's small habits, especially the ones they do in the morning, that quietly add up to a long, healthy life. So today, I want to talk about something that could make a real difference for you. We're going to explore a few simple, doable morning habits that can help you feel better, stay sharp, and maybe even live past 90. Don't worry, this isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. to run marathons. No thank you. These are gentle, realistic changes. Things you can start doing tomorrow morning, or even today. Let's begin with something that sounds almost too simple to matter, but it does. Waking up with purpose. You see, when we retire or slow down, we often lose that feeling of having something to get up for. But having even a small reason to rise each day, a little routine, a plan, a phone call to look forward to, can completely change your energy. I know a gentleman named Mr. Benson, 93 years old, lives just down the street. Every morning, he tends to his tiny backyard garden. Nothing fancy, just a few herbs and flowers, but he says it's what keeps him going. "Those tomatoes depend on me," he told me with a smile. Having purpose, no matter how small, gives us a reason to start the day with a full heart. And if you're thinking, "But I don't have a garden," that's perfectly fine. Purpose can be anything: a crossword puzzle, a warm cup of tea on the porch, writing in a journal, feeding the birds, even calling a friend just to say good morning. What matters is that it's your reason to get up with intention. Now, once you're up and about, here's another habit that works wonders: hydrating first thing in the morning. Our bodies naturally lose water overnight, and when we're older, we don't always feel thirsty even when we are dehydrated. You might feel sluggish, foggy, or stiff and not realize it's simply because your body's low on fluids. I always keep a glass of water by my bed, and I drink it before I do anything else, before coffee, before breakfast. Just water. It's like giving your body a little good morning from the inside. If plain water doesn't appeal to you, try squeezing in a bit of lemon or adding a slice of cucumber. Some folks even drink warm water to be gentle on the stomach. You'd be surprised how much better you feel after just a few mornings of doing this. Your digestion improves, your joints feel looser, and your brain feels more awake. It's one of the easiest ways to take care of yourself without much effort. And here's a third habit that's made a real difference for many people I've spoken to over the years: gentle stretching or movement in the morning. Nothing intense, nothing that'll leave you breathless, just enough to wake up your muscles and get the blood flowing. I know one lady, Miss Clara. She's 88 now. Every morning, she does 5 minutes of stretching while listening to her favorite old jazz records. She says it's her way of telling her body, "We're still in this together." Even if it's just raising your arms overhead, rolling your shoulders, stretching your legs while seated, whatever your body allows, the key is to move. It helps with balance, reduces stiffness, and gives you a little jolt of energy. If you have a favorite song, put it on and sway with it. You don't have to do a workout. You just have to show your body a bit of love before the day truly begins. And sometimes, that movement leads naturally into the next moment of care, into something that fills not just your body, but your spirit. Because it's not just about moving the body, it's about tending to the heart and the mind, too. After all, the morning isn't only a time for routines. It's a moment to check in with yourself, gently and honestly. And that brings us to another habit many long-lived folks swear by: taking a few quiet minutes for reflection or gratitude. Now, I know that might sound a little abstract, but it's really quite simple. Some people sit by the window with a cup of tea. Others rest in their favorite chair, hands folded, eyes closed, just breathing. It doesn't have to be a prayer unless you want it to be. It can just be you, sitting in stillness, thinking about what you're thankful for that day. Maybe it's the sound of your partner's snoring still coming from the other room, because that means they're still here with you. Maybe it's the birds, or the feel of your warm socks, or the fact that you remembered all your grandkids' names yesterday. That counts. There's a man I used to visit during my volunteer rounds, Mr. Ike. He was 91, quiet but sharp as ever. Every morning, he would light a small candle on his table and sit in silence for about 10 minutes. When I asked him once what he thought about during that time, he said, "I think about who I am, who I've been, and what kind of person I want to be today." Even at 91, there's still work to be done. And he's right, isn't he? Aging doesn't mean we stop growing. It just means we grow differently. A little more inward, maybe. A little wiser. Taking those few minutes each morning isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to yourself. It steadies the mind, calms the nerves, and makes room for joy. Yes, even on days when your knees ache or your plans fall through. Gratitude helps us find peace right where we are. And here's something funny about these quiet habits. They tend to open the door for better decisions throughout the rest of the day. When you start your morning with calm and care, you're more likely to eat a healthier breakfast, call someone you love, or take that walk instead of sitting inside all day. It's like setting a kind tone for your body and soul, saying, "Let's treat ourselves with gentleness today." And speaking of breakfast, how we fuel our mornings plays a big part in how we feel all day long. Because let's be honest, what we put on our plate can either set us up for a strong, energetic day or leave us feeling sluggish and ready to crawl back under the covers. You know the feeling, right? You eat something heavy or sugary, and an hour later, you're more tired than before. That's why one of the most powerful habits you can build into your morning is starting your day with a nourishing, balanced breakfast. Now, I'm not saying you need to whip up something fancy or follow some complicated diet. It's about choosing foods that give you lasting energy, things that are gentle on your stomach, good for your heart, and kind to your brain. For example, a small bowl of oats with sliced banana and a handful of nuts can go a long way. Or maybe you prefer scrambled eggs with some spinach or a bit of avocado on the side. Even a piece of whole grain toast with a little peanut butter and some fruit can do the trick. I remember my neighbor, Mama Rose. She's 87 and still has more pep in her step than most folks half her age. Every morning, without fail, she makes herself a simple breakfast, pap with a dash of milk, a boiled egg, and a slice of pawpaw. She always says, "This old engine needs good fuel if I'm going to keep going." And she's right. When we feed our bodies right, they repay us with clearer thinking, steadier energy, and better moods. And don't forget, if you're on any medications, eating something healthy in the morning can help prevent stomach upset. It's a small habit, but one that shows your body you care. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Even if it's just a banana and a cup of tea one day and something more the next, what matters is that you don't skip it. Now, after you've moved a little, sipped your water, taken a quiet moment, and had something good to eat, the day has already taken on a different shape, hasn't it? You feel steadier, clearer, more present. And that's the beautiful thing. None of this requires anything extreme. Just simple steps, repeated gently each day. And when your body and mind are feeling just a little more awake, a little more cared for, it creates space for one more beautiful habit. One that has more power than most people realize. Connecting with someone, even briefly. You see, as we get older, the days can sometimes stretch out quietly, especially if we live alone or our children and friends have their own busy lives. But one of the most life-giving things you can do each morning is reach out to a friend, a neighbor, a sibling, even just the person who sells you bread down the street. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. A short call, a cheerful text, or even a wave from the porch can brighten not just your day, but someone else's too. I knew a retired teacher, Mrs. Adeola. She had this lovely habit of calling one person every morning, just to say good morning and wish them a peaceful day. Some days it was her cousin in another city. Other days it was the young boy from church who used to help her carry her groceries. She kept a small notebook and checked off each name as she went through her list during the week. This way, she once told me, I never feel forgotten, and no one else does either. And you know, there's something powerful about that. A simple act of connection reminds us that we belong to each other. It doesn't matter if we're not going out as much, or if our social circle has gotten smaller over the years. What matters is keeping that circle warm, even if it's just a few people. You'd be surprised how much a little human contact, even virtual or over the phone, can ease anxiety, lift your mood, and make the whole day feel more alive. Even sharing a quiet breakfast with your spouse or saying hello to a neighbor walking their dog can make a difference. Loneliness, after all, doesn't just hurt the heart, it can wear on the body too. But when we make it a habit to reach out in the morning, we start the day with a sense of togetherness, of being part of something. And that kind of connection, that can add years to your life and life to your years. And here's something interesting I've noticed. Once you start your day with purpose, movement, good food, a little peace, and a human connection, even a small one, it becomes easier to embrace the rest of the day with calm and clarity. That's when you're ready for something else, something that helps keep the mind sharp and the spirit young. Learning something new. Yes, even now. Especially now. Because your brain, just like your muscles, needs a little stretching to stay strong. You don't have to sit in a classroom or earn another degree. It can be something simple, even fun. Reading a few pages of a book, listening to a radio program, doing a crossword puzzle, or watching a documentary on something you've always been curious about. Every time you do, you're keeping those beautiful brain cells of yours active and engaged. There's a gentleman I once visited during a community outreach program. Uncle Felix, 89 years old, always dressed like he was headed to a church service, even on a Tuesday morning. Every day after breakfast, he would pull out a small notebook and teach himself a new word in French. He had no plans of visiting France, mind you. He just loved the sound of the language. When I asked him why, he said, because every new word I learn reminds me that I'm still growing. I may not be fast, but I'm still moving forward. And that's the spirit, isn't it? It's not about becoming an expert. It's about staying curious. When you learn something new, no matter how small, it sends a message to your brain. We're still in the game. And it doesn't just keep your mind sharp. It lifts your mood, too. It gives you something to talk about when you call your friend later or something to share with your grandchild that they didn't expect you to know. Maybe you pick up a hobby you never had time for when you were younger. Painting, gardening, learning to play a simple tune on a keyboard. Or maybe you finally explore those questions you used to push aside. How does honey never spoil? What's the story behind a song you love? You have time now, and more importantly, you have the wisdom to enjoy the learning process. And when your morning includes a moment like that, a tiny stretch of the mind, you'll start to feel it. That spark, that lightness, that quiet joy of knowing you haven't stopped growing. You're still discovering, still becoming. That's something no number can take from you. Not 60, not 70, not 90. And with a mind that's fed, a body gently awakened, and a heart that's been touched by purpose and connection, the only thing left is to carry all that good energy with you into the rest of the day and into the years still ahead. Because every morning you rise and choose to care for yourself, mind, body, and spirit, you are making a quiet but powerful declaration. I'm still here, and I'm still living. Not just surviving, not just passing time, but truly living. And when you do that often enough, day after day, it doesn't just add days to your life. It adds life to your days. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Not trying to chase youth, but embracing the richness of right now. Feeling good in your body, keeping your mind active, and sharing your heart with others. These morning habits aren't about perfection. They're about consistency. They're about waking up and deciding, today, I'll take one step toward wellness, even if it's a small one. Some days, you might stretch for 10 minutes. Other days, maybe all you manage is sipping your water and smiling at the sunrise. That's more than enough. Every little effort adds up, and the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Before long, it's not a list of habits. It's just your way of life. A calm, joyful rhythm that supports you through each day and gently carries you into the next. And let me tell you something else, because I think it's important. It's never too late to start. You don't have to be someone who's always lived healthy. You don't need a perfect track record. You could start these habits tomorrow, even today, and still feel the benefits in ways big and small. Your body may not be what it once was, but it still listens. Your mind may feel a little slower sometimes, but it still wants to learn. And your spirit? It's never too old to feel young again. So as you go on with your day, remember, you're not just passing time. You're building something. A stronger morning, a healthier body, a clearer mind, a more connected heart. These small acts of care, repeated over time, may be the very things that help you not only reach your 90s, but truly thrive in them. And if this message warmed your heart or sparked a little inspiration, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me, what's one morning habit that helps you feel your best? Drop it in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. We've got more beautiful, uplifting conversations ahead, and I'd be honored to have you along for the journey. Until next time, keep smiling, keep moving, and remember, you're never too old to feel young again.